Yeah, looking back on the UTEP game, sometimes in games you have a gut feeling after the game, and you go back and watch the film, and you change your mind a lot. This was honestly not one of those times. I think some of the things that we talked about after the game, as far as how the team played, some of the things that we did well offensively, defensively, and on special teams, I think were pretty much what we expected on tape. Again, was very pleased with how our young guys responded to that first game situation. We certainly made a lot of mistakes, but I thought their mentality, their ability to handle that in the moment was particularly impressive with our young group. Again, proud of the way we settled in defensively after the first drive and really controlled the game. I thought we really flew around and played with a great mentality defensively, which is something that we've really been pushing to stress. And our guys bought in and did a great job of that. Going forward, Jordan Parker will be out for the season with a knee injury. Suffered on special teams, kind of one of those things you go back and watch it on tape and really, it's hard to really see anything. It wasn't anything just apparent on tape, but just almost there was a little bit of contact, but it didn't look like that had much to do with it. But regardless, he'll be out for the season. Probably looking at a surgery for him, and then working his way back into the fold next year, which I know he will. So. Luckily, I think we've had some young guys step up at that corner position. Still obviously have Jordan Thomas and Pernell Motley, but we were really pleased with how Trey Brown played the other day, both on special teams and on defense. And I would also put Trey Norwood right there as well, though both those guys played very well for their first game experience. And we have a lot of confidence in those guys going forward to provide some depth at corner. So. Obviously, a great test for us this week, going up to Ohio State. Will be a great atmosphere, one that our guys are very much looking forward to going and competing in. I don't think that we'll talk much about the game. Last year, I told somebody this morning, I don't think that has much of an effect on it. I think regardless how the game turned out last year, regardless of who won or lost, this is one of those games that both teams are going to be excited to play. It's going to be a great college football environment, two good football teams going at it, and we'll certainly have to go up there and play well, which we expect to do. For those guys, offensively, it certainly starts with J.T. Barrett and what he's done over his career. Obviously a very, very decorated player, a lot of experience, has played in a lot of big games. And he's off to a great start this season. A couple other guys that stand out for them, Mike Weber, no, he didn't play in the first game, but also a very good player. Really carried the ball well for them last year. A true freshman running back, J.K. Dobbins, that had a big game the other night. And they've got a couple of guys up front that really stand out, especially Billy Price, one of the top centers in the country. Defensively, as everybody knows, it starts with their defensive line. They're definitely one of the top groups that we'll see along the defensive front. Their depth and explosiveness is very impressive, and these guys do a great job schematically. Their coaches are very good. They're very, very sound. They did lose some players in the back end, but they have plenty of talent back there. There's no doubt. Linebackers are also very, very active, guys that can fly around, a couple of the same guys that we played against last year that just really make them a complete defense. They're also a group that's always been very good on special teams. They've got a couple of dynamic returners that we're going to have to do a good job with. So, they've got a lot of good players. We've got a lot of good players. It's going to be a fun matchup, and we're looking forward to preparing this week and going up there and being ready to play as well as we expect to. So from that, we'll go questions.
Do you feel that your team right now, game two, you back to last year, is better than it was at early last year?
I would never compare it. It's just so there's a lot of differences. We've seen one game. I think You know, we did a lot of good things in the first game. There's a lot that we've got to improve on. I don't know there will be a point until we get to the end of the year where we'll look back and say, well, we think we did maybe this a little bit better than we did before, like what we did. But right now our mentality is all about getting better from game one and getting ready for Ohio State.
Well, how much of what happened last year is correctable, and maybe how much of it is just physical?
Oh, again, it's two different teams. I mean, sure, there's some of the players are the same, and some of the scheme for both sides, I'm sure, is the same. But this is just a totally new year. I don't look at it like that. We obviously know when you play good football teams, Ohio State or anybody else, that you've got to play well to beat them, and that's part of the deal. It's that simple. And we didn't play well enough last year, and we'll have to play better this year.
Looking in your secondary, could you talk about your secondary in game one? Last year they were able to take advantage of some things, but your secondary is older this year. You got guys back. Motley's now starting, so talk about that group.
Yeah, I think we cover better right now than we did last year. At the same point, no doubt. I think I think we've got just a little bit more depth there. Even with Jordan being down, we've got a little bit more depth there, a little bit more experience. I think another year of those guys working with Coach Cooks. I think we're a little bit more talented. Yeah, I think we learned a lot throughout the year last year. A lot of guys grew up as we kind of made that last closing run, and I think that'll serve us well in this game and beyond.
Just about every guy came up here said at some point, see where you guys are with this game on Saturday as far as kind of being a measuring stick. I guess now you're going to be able to sit down with Joe when you guys make out the schedule. How important are games like this in September to you, playing a big name power like this?
No, I agree with Joe and Bob's philosophy before that I think it's positive. I think you need to do it. I love having the home and home ones. I'm not sometimes the neutral side. There's some positives to both, but I think it's good for our team and our fans to be able to bring a big name opponent in here non-conference wise, and then I think it's good for us on the opposite years to be able to go play in venues like Florida State in the past or Notre Dame, Tennessee a few years ago, and now Ohio State. I think it serves you well for conference. To win our conference championship, you're going to have to, or anybody's, you're going to have to win big games on the road, and I think these games help prepare you for that.
Baker was talking about treating this game like any other game. Is that one of the hardest things as a coach, especially for the young guys, is to convince them to treat this like it's another game heading into Ohio State?
Well, I think you got to. Each game is its own game, and there's different challenges based on the opponent, the venue. So you just got to try to get them as prepared as you possibly can to go play well in this game. None of the other ones matter right now. So I've always said you treat it like another game. I mean, again, each game's a different thing, So this week it's about Ohio State and what we can do best to go up there and play well and win this football game. And so anything we can do as coaches, anything that we instruct them to do as players, that's what they've got to do.
When you play a game like this, what gives you the confidence? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Myron.
What gives you the confidence about Trey Norwood, Trey Brown? I mean, they're not starters; they're probably not going to play. What gives you confidence they can go to 100,000 seat stadium as freshmen, second game of the year?
Oh, just what I've seen with them all camp. The way that they came in and competed from day one. Some freshmen come in and have the deer in the headlights look, and some don't, and they never did. And so that gives me confidence in the way they played the other day. We got a pretty big, nice stadium here too that's packed and loud, and they came in and didn't miss a beat. So I know the kind of athletes they are. I know their mentality, and I'm totally confident they'll play very well for us.
When you play a game like this, do you consider the implications of what happens could affect college football playoff selection too much down the road?
No, it's too early. I mean, there's still so much that can happen. Again, and that's way too big picture for me, any of our coaches or any of our players. It's about let's see if we can go up there and play as well as we think we can, and if we do, I think we'll have a great chance.
Last year you had the Cody Ford go down with an injury in this Ohio State game, and that's kind of when the offensive line shuffle started, and since you've developed this continuity, how does that change the complexion of this year's Ohio State game?
Well, it's a group that you're going to have to play well up front against. I mean, as talented as they are on the defensive line, you've got to be able to match that. You've got to be able to just keep them from teeing off on you all game long. And so, certainly when you're going and playing a group like this, you're happy to have a group like we have, a group that is physical, that's experienced, where we have some depth. And so, it'll be a great matchup to watch. It'll be a fun matchup for our guys. I'm sure a fun matchup for their guys too. And it'll go a long way in determining, who wins this game.
And Baker Mayfield.
How'd you feel about your running backs after you took in?
Pretty much about what we felt like after the game. That they all played well. They all missed a few things too that they can do better. But I thought we ran really hard. We protected the ball well, other than Marcellus had the one fumble that he was able to recover when he got hit in the backfield. We caught the ball well, made some plays in the receiving game. So I thought they all took positive steps. So we're still kind of learning about those guys, what they're going to become. But I think they're all four good players, and I know we're going to need all four of them as we go forward.
Lincoln, what about Baker's, what you're expecting from him in this ball game versus what his output was last year? It wasn't his best game, and just how much different can it be with him?
He's in a different place, right now. And again, I wouldn't compare it to this game. He's in a different place mentally than he was at the beginning of the season last year. I think I think the trust in the guys around him right now is a little bit higher. I think he learned a lot from not just this game, but the beginning of the last few seasons. I think he's a little bit more mature and ready to handle this. And look, he's always been a great road quarterback. I mean, I don't think the guy's ever lost a road game as a starter. So he's a pretty good player, and he'll be ready to play.
Mentally last year.
Do what?
Where was he mentally last year?
I think he was trying to do too much offensively, and then honestly on the leadership side of it, a little bit of the same. Kind of the taking it all on his shoulders, and when you're the kind of competitor he is, that sometimes is easy to do, but he's done a good job so far of resisting that temptation, and he's going to have to do the same thing again Saturday.
When's the last time you felt like you had to calm him down?
It's been a while. I can't really think of any point last season, probably a sophomore year.
Like in his first 2 years, he kind of had go-to guys in Sterling and then in Dede. I'm curious how much growth that takes for a guy to spread the ball around to 10 different people. And, his first game when he's playing with guys that he hasn't played with before.
Well, it does take growth. It takes experience. It takes poise, trust. And again, I think we just had a better plan going in this year than what we have in the past. And I know it's been one game, and we've still got obviously a long ways to go here and a lot to see as far as how it unfolds. But I think the overall plan has been better. His mentality approaching it has been better. I think so I think he's been set up for success a little bit more this time around.
You guys haven't lost a true road game.
How did Kenneth Murray play?
He played solid. He was not good early, which again was to be expected for a true freshman. It was honestly probably one of the toughest first games for a Mike linebacker you could ask a guy to do. I mean, all the shifts, motions, they present a lot of different formations and change up a lot of things with their pro style look. And so he was a little unsettled early, but he never got rattled. He was always he listened to the adjustments. He made the adjustments well, and as the game went on, he just got better and better.
You guys haven't lost a true road game in a couple, 3 seasons. Why is there any common thread why you guys have been so good on the road?
We just enjoy playing there. You guys, I know with Coach here in the previous few years, it was something we always look forward to. I know I've always been that way. Our team just enjoys the road, enjoy the challenges of it. To me, there's nothing better in college football than getting a chance to go on the road and play a great opponent in a great venue.
And 2015, when you guys came back against Tennessee, what does that environment, how does that prepare you from a coaching perspective and being beside Bob Stoops when you're going through that type of comeback?
No, it's a good question. I mean, I appreciated in that game probably more than anything was his trust in what we were doing offensively. You know, there would have been some. It shows that you gotta believe in what you're doing. You know, I think for three and a half quarters, I don't know. I don't think we even got the ball past midfield. You know, and here we are, second game in that venue, and defense was playing well. And if you were ever going to question something or try to jump in and start making some calls as a head coach, it's probably a scenario like that you'd be tempted to do it. And he never did. And I think his trust in what we were doing and, you know, letting us stay with it, we knew we were close. His confidence in us, I think, was a big part in us being able to turn it around offensively and ultimately win that game.
Lincoln, is Ohio State's offense, is there a lot of difference with Kevin Wilson now as the OC?
There's you can see some of the things that have carried over. You know, some of the run game, some of the things they do up front that have definitely carried over. There are some differences in the pass game, which, you know, we expected that even before watching the Indiana game. So there's a few different schemes there that they like to use that we'll have to defend well.
Is A&M UCLA from last night, that crazy finish, is that a teaching tool for you at all on both sides, winning and losing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's you know, stuff like that is good for our guys to see because they're situations you talk about and then you talk about, you know, just the general mentality of having to finish games and or if you're on the other side, never giving up and never thinking you're out of it, but when they actually see it happen to somebody else, it's more real. And so absolutely, those are things that we talk about with our guys often. A lot of times we're not as much last night because we were busy working on these guys, but a lot of times we're texting our guys and, you know, even during the game, you know, as it goes, texting our position groups or talking about it. That's the way you talk to these guys now.
Last night you were working and couldn't watch the game.
I caught about the last – I saw the last – I got home and saw, I think, the last 5-10 minutes to the game, maybe. Yeah, it was. You know, it was. There was some momentum that obviously A&M had, and then flipped back over pretty quick. But yeah, crazy stuff can happen. You know, and that's why again they're never over. And if you're on the tough side of it, you're never out of the fight.
Lincoln, what do you remember about J.K. Dobbins through the recruiting process?
J.K. is a great kid. We had a great relationship with him. Great family. No surprise at all that he's off to a good start there. You know, we always thought he was going to be a good player and a talented kid, and got hurt there his senior year. But he was, great kid. Obviously going to be a very good player for them.
Lincoln, the receivers at Indiana, they made a lot of yards, but it didn't appear there was much separation. Can you talk about that, and then the importance of your guys gaining enough separation to have success?
Yeah, you know, Indiana's got some big guys that made some big competitive plays in that game, and you're going to have to do that against these guys. They cover you well enough that you're not going to have people running wide open all over the place. That's just not reality against them, and so you're going to have to make those one-on-one plays. Indiana made a few, but Ohio State, you know, made several too there, especially in the second half. So yeah, it's going to be every position battle in this game is going to be competitive. It's going to be competitive up front, on the perimeter, linebackers and backs, both sides of the ball. I mean, there won't be there's not going to be many freebies in this game.
You were talking about their defensive front.
Say that again.
You talked about their defensive front a few times this morning. Their coordinator got some attention about a month ago, Greg Schiano, when he compared them favorably to NFL groups that he's coached. Do you see that level of talent with this front?
Well, they're talented. Yeah, they're definitely talented. You know, I've never coached in the NFL, so I don't know that I could, you know, confirm or deny that. But I mean, there's certainly a lot of guys there that are going to, you know, have opportunities in the NFL. There's no doubt about it. And their depth is definitely impressive. So yeah, they're a good group.
Do you feel like you guys are tougher to scout right now because your production offensively was so spread out? It seems like it might be hard to identify just what you guys are going to do Saturday.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Coach, that was a chatter in the headphones Saturday, first game, head coach. How everything filtering through you, what you expected?
Yeah, you know, I can click through to different lines. So the offensive one was pretty normal. I get over to Bill, talk to the front every now and then. That was normal. But yeah, getting over and kind of being there in communication with the defense a few times was a little bit different. We'd simulated it some in scrimmages, so it wasn't brand new. But it was a little different. Kind of listening to them and kind of their thought process during the game, or talking the few situations that came up, talking through it. But it was, I thought our coaches handled it well. It was pretty smooth.
Lincoln, we went 19 minutes before somebody asked you about coaching your first game or being 33, whatever.
So you're gonna continue the streak.
Is that a sign? Is that a sign that, hey, all that other stuff was nice, but Ohio State's here?
Yeah.
This is serious stuff.
Yeah, I hope it is. I mean, it's again, you're right. All that other stuff doesn't matter right now. I mean, it's about going and preparing and getting ready to play a great football team in a great environment. So the attention doesn't need to be on me. It needs to be on the players and because they're going to be the ones that decide this thing.
Is there a couple? What keeps you up at night about Ohio State offense, defense that make you lose sleep like the word?
I don't lose sleep about anybody, and that's not any disrespect to Ohio State. I mean, they're a very good football team. You are going to have to play well to beat them, but I'm confident in the team we have. We're a good football team too, and they're going to have to play good to beat us.
Now, are you showing your team, Dean Blevins right here 40 years ago, leading the team to victory there?
Well, it's not HD film, so they don't like it.
Bob used to tell us, Bob being from Ohio, used to tell us stories about Ohio State, that kind of thing. What do you got for us from Muleshoe, Texas? No Ohio State stories?
I got nothing on Ohio State. I don't. No, not as much carryover there.
Coach, you talk about the attention needs to be on the players. I certainly, Mark Andrews will have the attention of Ohio State's defense.
Yeah, he played good. He's a tough matchup. There's no doubt. But we think we've got a few guys that are tough matchups too. And again, the key in these deals is probably for both offenses, you got to be able to do both. I mean, you can take away one thing here or there, but if you're good enough in all the other areas, you'll have answers if things are if people try to take different things away. So we're trying to get to a point offensively where we do have a lot of answers as people make adjustments to us.
What did the offensive coordinator this year see in Mark Andrews that the offensive coordinator last year didn't quite see?
I think he's grown a little bit more. I think he's taking control of the position more. Last year he was playing a bunch, but then Geno Lewis came on and was playing a bunch too. And so for receivers, it's in all the skill positions. It's very simple that if you're out there more plays, you're going to get more opportunities. And if you can take over a position and have the opportunity to play more snaps, then you're going to have more games like what he had the other day. I mean, it's the same thing when he was a freshman. I mean, we weren't going to take Sterling Shepard off the field, and Sterling got a lot of catches because he was out there darn near every snap. No different than Dede last year. So that's kind of the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for these guys, that if they can win and take control of position, they'll have chances to have big games and big years.
He seems like he's bigger, stronger, but he's still got the looseness. He made some guys miss and ran around some guys Saturday.
Yeah, he's a little bit bigger. Maybe nothing earth-shattering, maybe 5-10 pounds. I just think he's playing more confident. Is more, just more in sync with Baker. And the difference between of where the way he played the first day or the first game and what he's played the rest of his career is not much, but he's starting to get it.
What are you going to do in Columbus with your team in terms of going to the stadium? I mean, this is a different place, more people. What's your plan?
We've got a pretty good idea of what we're going to do, but it's not. We've had a few good discussions on it. Not ready to say yet for sure.
Coach, how did you feel about the defense in terms of guys being in the right places in the opener, being comfortable in their new roles?
Yeah, I thought the first series we got out of place a few times, and then had a chance to make some tackles in the secondary to limit those long runs. I had the back-to-back runs there to score. We got out of gaps a few times there. We missed a couple of assignments after, but we really rallied to the ball well and tackled well, but not many. We made some good adjustments at halftime, and again, I was proud of the way our guys responded to it. So yeah, it was something that as the game went on, we got cleaner and cleaner.
How gratifying is it that this freshman class, which just turned out to be your first freshman class, comes in so advanced, or maybe encouraging for the future?
Yeah, I would say encouraging for the future, and it doesn't surprise us though that the way these guys were in recruiting them and kind of the mentality they've had as a class has been good, and we've tried to identify guys that we think you're going to have a couple projects each year that maybe you're strong at this group or it might take this guy a little bit to develop, but we're trying to bring in guys that we feel like as we look at this 18 class right now, we're thinking about, all right, who can help us next year? I mean, we want guys that they're either going to come win positions or they're going to push the guys that we have currently to make them better.
Have you talked to Bob since the game was over?
Do what?
Have you talked to Bob since the game was over?
Real quickly, I saw him. I was coming up the elevator to the office, and he was going down, so I saw him for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Back out so early.
No, he didn't.
Thoughts on Kyler and if he's ready for the moment?
Yeah, he played pretty well against UTEP, and I've got a lot of confidence that if something happened to Baker, that he'd be ready to go. He's been in big game environments before, started in big games. He's played against good competition, so I have no concern about him being ready.
Lincoln, do you anticipate A.D. Miller or Devontae Lamping for Saturday?
I would say those decisions hadn't been made yet. Yeah.
What do you admire from afar about Urban Meyer?
Oh, a lot. I mean, his consistency in winning. He's won. Most of the places that he's been. I think he's always done a really nice job in recruiting. I think most of the places he's been, he's had a lot of the best players, especially his last two stops, and so the guy's done a great job in recruiting. His teams compete; they're always very well coached. So I mean, it's not hard to see why he's had the success he's had in his career.
You had a chance to maybe immerse yourself in his backstory, where he had stress problems and heart problems, and had to step away because he just drove himself too hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with it. I am.
Young coach.
Oh, I'm a long ways from that.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah, I'm a long ways from that. But it's a good lesson, that you got to have some balance, and that this is important, but it's not everything.
Last question. With Ohio State starting out the year on a Thursday and some of the teams that play the week before the opener, is that something you'd ever consider playing on a Thursday or week 0?
Oh, it's really smart. I mean, especially now with camp being like 6 months long. I mean, it's really smart because going 2 days earlier, that's even better. You can end camp a little bit sooner and get on to your game prep, and then you got a few days extra for the second game. So now I realize in scheduling it doesn't always work out that way. It's sometimes not as simple as just saying, all right, let's do this. And so, but yeah, I think it's a good plan. I'm sure something that we'll look to when we can in the future.